Okay, welcome everyone. Let's start. Let's move and go to develop that. If you have any question, please drop in. So today's lesson key focus will be the summary, conclusion, limitation, and scope of research, and the next lesson will go to summary discussion. Summarize the conclusion and research, confirm on the achievement of objective, recommendation, limitation, and scope. Well, that's which we go through. Let's start. So please, in your research, the first thing you do, the chapter 1 is your introduction. Chapter 2 of the research proposal, you do the literature. Chapter 3, the research methodologies. Chapter 4, data collection and analysis, and chapter 5, we can look around the conclusion, limitation, and scope of research. Okay, so the communicating the key finding, the chapter dissertation present the finding of the quantitative or qualitative research, whatever you do. So always good to be, you have to present your finding of the research. So compare it with the existing literature, be critical in your evaluation the point and how the weaknesses in your argument. Dissertation report summarize the dissertation, present finding recommendation based on your finding. Explain how the research objective currently research and the scope is met. That is quite. And then summarize. Your summary of the research could be contained overall 4 to 5 sentences, consist of the aim, research methodology, collection technique which you use, the key finding, consistency, and contrast with the existing literature. Summary make sure to highlight the interesting finding, contrast with common beliefs and widely acknowledged about the academic research findings are the new, are the previous unreported, and the challenging is the collection. So we need to be look around and always highlight that your research has addressed the research problem at the gap in your conclusion. So conclusion include the paragraph including the research. The research, we have to think about the research is defined the objective and the aims and the hypothesis, what the rejected or accepted, and the alternative hypothesis accepted, and indicate the finding can be applied in the management and the practice context. So by brief, the summary, which we can confirm the achievement of the objective. The objective of the research was to draw the conclusion recommendation, to develop the understanding, to solve the problem, whatever the objective was. Is it how was it done, and the key finding, answering the research question. And you need to state, any interesting finding and reform that you always had to be focused on the research aims and objective and draw the recommendation. So important data analysis, objective on literature review, objective to literature review, objective to quantitative, qualitative, objective for research finding. So recommendation derived from the research finding very important. It should contain the action item and should include, implementation plan, use the resource. So minimum 3 to maximum 5 recommendation. So based on the finding, the marketing team at Tesco can create a outreach program to reach out to the customer, to post feedback, their experience, and the client. Then always good to have an implementation plan, in your proposal, limitation and scope of work. So limitation, state your research limitation, data collection, scope of research, research methodology, state what instead of these limitations, your research is able to achieve the objective. Maybe the research has been designed or draw the data very limited sample size, future research rate can enhance the research in other part of the world. Yes, it can do. So that is quite crucial if we can look around, help you to achieve the key objective as an organization. Remember this, the purpose or the state of your achieve, your goals, and yet leave the scope of work, scope of future work, highlight, where the research can be extended, comparative study, large sample size, adoption, different methodology, contribution to academic literatures, and thus, which we can look at. Okay, this is the conclusion. Let's go back to our L04, which we can link to and contextualize our discussion. So, anyone, any question, please? Okay, so in our L04, data collection and analysis, recap, update the data collection, importance of data analysis, understand the qualitative and quantitative, interpret the research findings. So thus we discuss about the chapter 1 was introduction, literature, research methodologies, and data collection. And the last one, which we just mentioned, the conclusion, we do a bit recap about data analysis that can lead to the conclusion. Okay, so market research, secondary data and primary data. So always good to be look around the secondary data, the second-hand information, which we can get the government statistic, like I mentioned, your ONS, industry association, trade publication, company website, and market research reports. Those are help you to collect. Like I can give you an example of ONS. What is the ONS? It's called Office of National Statistics. Yeah, that's quite good to use the data. Like, if we have inflation, the numbers. Other website which I mentioned, the website was that's quite good to use, this website which is being statistics. Yes, like if you want to look around the social media growth, are these facts and figures, so you can get, at which the worldwide, according to which social media people using more and which age group is using more on customer satisfaction. If you're looking HR perspective or recruitment and selection, or use of the social media for advertising the job, that can be looked around. So that's the secondary data. So research primary data. Primary data is the first-hand information that's you collect through survey, focus group, and social media, which we had a discussion about last lesson, how we can use the Google form. Common mistake to made in the student researcher to see the data analysis as part of doing research. So please worry about when I have some data, I want to be how I analyze until see the data. So data is mean raw facts and figures. Data leads to the information, and information is the knowledge that we need to use. So your choice of the data analysis technique will be depend on your research question, and we need to make sure the research approaches. So methods of the data analysis which can be used. Quality of the analysis which we can use. I mentioned in the previous lesson, SPSS software, Power BI, and various data. These are the very powerful tools. Of course, we can use Excel where we can draw the means, mode, median, arithmetic mean, median, mode, chi-square, correlation, standard deviation, ANOVA, analysis of variance. These, all the tools we can, descriptive statistic can be used for analysis. Remember, you can analyze what the data you collect. You can only analyze the based on the form of the data is collected. That's, which we can look around. Understand the qualitative and quantitative. The quantitative data, the key consideration in quantitative, what the research question and objective, the key variable, the relationship between variables, and the significance of the finding. Always good to be quantitative is more about numbers, so always need to be look around if you're using the correlation, the relationship, graph, tabulation. These, the data we can use the data for testing the hypothesis, relationship between the variable dependence. So some example of the data survey can be. You can see the number of first names, agree, disagree, the price, and all the data which we can show. Analysis of the data SPSS, quality, information, level information sharing, strategic supply, performance of supply chain. So SPSS is quite good, where we can say we can look around regression, like give you what is the mean there, mean square, in statistic reasonable data which we can interpret accordingly. Yes, what the information level of sharing, correlation, positive correlation, negative correlation. Key consideration of qualitative data, meaning how the people see the world, context the world in the people's act, problem, action, and activity people do, and the reason why people behave the way they do. So qualitative data is identify the theme, holding the data, introducing the data to the management form, and treating the data. Interpreting the research finding, that is quite good. If we can look at the data interpretation, answer these four questions: why important are the data? Why is it important? And learn from it. So data is about expertise, but interpretation of the data give you information, and information is the knowledge which we can use for the decision making purposes. So it's quite good, we need to be look around how we can use the data to make the decision. How far data your analysis, comparison with academic literature, compare and contrast of the finding with existing literature, compare with your research, with the research that has been done closely. The research findings are always to interpret into the context of some prior knowledge, and always, highlight if your findings are significant different from the existing research, comparison academic literature, then check, the research gap is addressed. Is being related to the research objective and explanations of the words is similar or not. That's, in the conclusion as the piece are the best considered argument. That's, which we had a discussion in the previously to link to your final LO5, which is your about the conclusion recommendation. Let's, I'll show you a few your told presentation, which we can look around how the data is being analyzed and being used. So this is one of the research about the social media, the impact of the social media on the consumer behavior. So we have the table of contents we have there. So we can look around the table of contents, we can look around the research objective, which I gave you the link in the previous lesson to look around for the sake of your reviews and to help understand. Okay, so we can look around the chapter one, the key things which can introduction, background, and objective, scope, context, research, structure, chapter two, the literature regarding the chapter of social media, consumer behavior, social media, impact of social media. That's, type of research methodologies, research philosophy, research approach, research design. Research strategy, data collection, that can be look around ethical consideration. And then we can look around the result, how the data is being analyzed. That's, our LO4, which we discussed in the previously. The finding, yes, that can be linked, the company socializing, the same, activity with the social media. So that's all the finding, and then being the conclusion being drawn and the summary is conclusion, analysis, and the recommendation being drawn. So that's, because chapter 4 and 5 areas research being divided into two, but chapter 4 is more about the data analysis, in the five, and then you've been drawn the conclusion. So if we look the conclusion today, which we looking the limitation and the conclusion. So the conclusion, the study have to be explored how the social media can influence and the impact of the consumer. In this fact, the study have tried offering the better explanation of how the consumer purchase and the decision making process and the influence by the social media. So in this kind of research found the valuable is established the digital age, social media can tremendously impact on the consumer behavior. The idea, the thinking approach is at the same time it cannot be denied. So that's being concluded that secondary research finding the literature we closely indicate the quality of the content on the social network side to be a bigger difference. So if you give there can be bigger difference of impacting the behaviors of the consumer. So that can be look around, as the key motivator that can help. So secondary research into the reveal that though the social media network, the channel and the customer can be easily and more effectively share, their opinion with their others and regarding the particular brand that can be look around. Nevertheless, we're bridging the communication gap between the customer and the company representative doing the favor of to the company, and that's which we can in the context of combining inference drawn about the literature and secondary research. Study limitation being likely and the research research and also being accountable for facing certain limitation to a common limitation. Essentially limited budget and the time and both limitation are supposed to be have in why keep some of the critical implications and the results. So for instance, the limited budget on research is limited research to confine the study of the secondary data and collection only. While the anticipation, so that's we can look around the limitation of the research and being the recommendation being drawn. So social media informs a lot of regulatory consumer behavior, understand the value of the social media in business, focus on the face-to-face communication and control the consumer power. Yes, so we have to manage an influential marketer. Yes, marketing that can influence on the behaviors, and that's which we need to be designed. And that is quite crucial, which we need to carry on. Anyone, any question, guys? So let's please look in a few minutes this and go through, and then we'll summarize them. Okay, yes. So that's which we had in this really we need to be look around the push events which we need to be focused more. Okay, so as you've seen, a couple of influential market here in the recommendation included the limitations, discussed about the contribution and LO5, and I shared with you these patent link in the past, so please, that's quite good, there are good few examples I included, so please good to use, and hope I'll speak you all during our next lesson, assignment discussion. Thanks for joining today. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you.